Greetings, friends. Prepare for another thrilling journey as we delve into Reddit's most bizarre tales. We're plunging deep into the quirkiest corners of the web. Grab your popcorn and join us on this adventure. Remember to hit subscribe and like. Let's begin. I'm 31, and I've been married to Amelie, who is 30, for 6 years. Together, we have two wonderful children, Chris, who's 5, and Debbie, who's 4. Amelie and I have known each other for 20 years, having grown up together in a small town alongside 7 close friends. We're still a tight-knit group to this day, and one of those friends is Ashley, who's 28. Ashley was the last to join our circle. She moved to our town when she was 18 after her parents divorced. I was 21 at the time and working as a waiter at a local restaurant. Ashley's father moved them to our town, and they became Amelie's neighbors. When Amelie introduced Ashley to us, I was immediately smitten. At the time, I wasn't dating Amelie. She had just broken up with one of our close friends, Kevin. I had heard whispers that Ashley had feelings for me, and that it might have played a part in her breakup with Kevin, but I didn't give it much thought as I was starting a new job and didn't want to be distracted by personal drama. Ashley was different, though. Her presence breathed new life into our group. She was vibrant, always cheerful, and people turned to her whenever there was a problem because she had a way of knowing exactly what to say. Her father was a therapist, and maybe that had something to do with it, but she just had a knack for understanding people. One day, she mentioned needing a job to help support her father, so I spoke to my manager, and Ashley started working with me. We spent 2 years working side by side, and during that time, I couldn't see myself with anyone else. I was completely captivated by her, but I never worked up the courage to tell her how I felt. She was stunning, and it seemed like every guy wanted to be with her. Then everything changed one night when I walked her home. Her father was away for the weekend, and instead of heading back like I usually did, I stayed a little longer. We shared some drinks, laughed, and talked about deeper things. In a rare moment of courage, I kissed her. I was prepared for her to pull away, but instead she kissed me back. That night, we ended up sleeping together. The next morning, she confided in me that I was her first, and she was happy it had been with me. At that moment, I felt like the happiest man alive. We kept our relationship a secret for 6 months. 6 of the most incredible months of my life. Before she decided to end things, I was heartbroken. I even begged her not to leave, going so far as to get on my knees, but she wouldn't budge. Through tears, she told me that she loved me but couldn't continue with our relationship. I spiraled into a depression, and that's when Amelie reached out to me. Initially, I used her to get back at Ashley. I knew it bothered her, and that brought me some satisfaction, but things progressed quickly. Amelie became pregnant, and because her family is religious, we got married. I'm not proud to admit that the day before the wedding, I had too much to drink and called Ashley, begging her to run away with me because I was still in love with her. She told me she was disappointed in me and didn't expect me to behave like that, especially when Amelie was carrying my child. She hung up, and on the day of the wedding, she avoided me. After my son, Chris, was born, Ashley moved to another country. She never reached out, and I promised myself I wouldn't betray Amelie, so I didn't try to contact Ashley. Fast forward to now, I feel overwhelmed by the demands of work and family life. Amelie is a great mother, but as a wife, she has been controlling and dismissive of my needs. She never allows me time for myself, and often she speaks on my behalf when others talk to me, which frustrates me to no end. It feels like she takes me for granted. During arguments, she raises her hands in frustration like she does with the kids, which makes me feel like a third child rather than her partner. I do my best to manage the household, take care of the children, and handle my responsibilities, but I'm constantly exhausted, and it feels like Amelie just adds to my stress. I stay strong for the sake of my kids, but I'm struggling to cope. 2 weeks ago, Ashley returned to town. During one of our usual get-togethers, our friend Karen surprised us by bringing Ashley along. When I saw her, I was overcome with happiness, and it felt like all my fatigue melted away. She looked as beautiful and radiant as ever, and I felt as if I was transported back in time. I thought she might avoid me, but she didn't. She seemed genuinely happy to see me. She hugged everyone, and when it was my turn, Emily stepped in and said I was too tired to get up. I was stunned, and I could see that Ashley was hurt, though she didn't say anything. Later, when we got home, I confronted Emily about what had happened, but instead of explaining herself, she became defensive, and we argued. The next day, I noticed that Ashley had been added to our group chat, which meant I had her number again. I followed her on social media and that evening sent her a message. I was nervous she wouldn't respond, but she did, and our conversation flowed easily. We caught up on each other's lives, and I confided in her about my issues with Emily. Ashley offered advice on how to manage things better, and I followed her suggestions, which did help with Emily. However, since Ashley's return, I haven't been able to be intimate with Emily. It's like there's a block. I just don't feel that desire anymore, even when she tries to initiate. My mind is constantly on Ashley. Lately, I've found myself imagining what life would be like if she were the mother of my children instead of Emily. I'm filled with questions and regrets. 2 days ago, Ashley and I ran into each other at a cafe in town. I was with a colleague, and she was with Karen. They joined us, and we talked. When it was time to leave, Ashley hugged me. I caught a whiff of her hair, and before I knew it, I had a physical reaction. Embarrassed, she pulled away quickly, and I felt ashamed of myself. Later, I messaged her to apologize, and she accepted, suggesting we meet to talk in person. I agreed, and we met the next day. We spent the whole day talking about everything: life, work, our past, and at some point, she confessed that she had never forgotten me and regretted hurting me all those years ago. She said she was proud of the father I had become because Karen had filled her in on how our lives had progressed. Something in me broke, and I couldn't hold back the tears. I told her everything: how unhappy I was in my marriage, how my children were the only thing keeping me going, and how much her departure had hurt me. She hadn't expected me to open up like that and became emotional herself. We embraced, and in that moment I kissed her. She didn't pull away but held me close. Eventually, I took her home, and since then we haven't spoken. I'm at a loss. I don't know what to do. I don't want to betray Emily any further, but I can't shake the feelings I have for Ashley. I really need advice from people who don't know me. So Reddit, am I in the wrong here?